Oh, awesome.
All right, all right. Let's try again.
All right, and we're back.
Sorry, Mason.
Okay, so I think we'll just take a couple deep breaths to ground so we can get into the live. So we'll
Either
just
that or we'll be grounding all night.
Book? What book?
we'll just
We're here to ground people. Change of plans.
what book? So just take a nice deep breath, letting the belly fill, really appreciating the reception of the breath in the belly, really pulling the full breath, extend into the belly, up into the chest, into the heart space, and an audible exhale out. Letting the shoulders drop, really appreciating that release that the exhale gives us. One more time into the belly, letting the belly fully expand, bringing that breath all the way up into the heart space, holding at the top for just a second, and an audible exhale out, letting the shoulders drop down, releasing any tension from the neck and the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little shimmy if you like, loosen them up. And one more time, just one more deep, the biggest, deepest, most nourishing breath you've taken all day. All right. I felt good. I needed it.
Yes, that felt very good. I realized as I was sitting here that my hips are so tight. A lot of tension.
Mhm.
Oh, I need that spray. I have that spray. Watch me squirt myself in the eye. Oh, all right. I'm good now.
Okay, so Violet, where should we start?
Welcome, everyone, to our spiritual book club. We're going to be reviewing A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Violet. I'm in New York. And I'm a tech geek. I love doing these lives with other teachers. I've got a couple of lives I do by myself now on gratitude journaling at the moment. We've got a lot of great stuff coming up. We'll talk about that later. I'm going to let Carly introduce herself for the people who don't know her.
My name's Carly. You probably know me as a Smile from Heaven. I'm in Queensland, Australia, where it's hot, hot summer. I half read the book, skimmed the book, and took notes. So did I read the whole book? No. I skimmed it and I'm interested to chat about it. So yeah, I'm here. And I'm a creative alchemist. So I'm here doing cacao ceremonies and creative live events a couple of times a week. So
Awesome. And and I have cards. And I'll remember to pop them up eventually. Maisha, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maisha. I am based here in California in the San Francisco Bay Area on Ohlone territory. And part of what I do in the world is that I'm a somatic educator and guide. And what I like to do is bring a lot of the spiritual principles we study and learn about and ground them into the body. So making it a lived, embodied experience. Another part of what I do in the world is I have a small business that I create aromatherapy products that helped me feel safe in my body. Once at a point in time when I was experiencing a lot of panic attacks and anxiety and all of the things. So that is me, and that is what I do here on Insight Timer. I'm very excited about some stuff I have coming up. We'll talk about later on Insight Timer. Thanks, Violet, for having me.
Thank you for being here. I did put up your next live I pulled up was January 20th.
Yes.
And I like that topic, why your why really matters. I love that.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about what the underlying energy and emotion and intention is behind what it is that you plan in terms of intentions and goals and resolutions and sort of embodying them in a way that makes them sustainable. Because a lot of times we start and stop stuff so much because we're not really clear on what the why is, right? And so we're going to be digging into that a little bit during that live. I'm super excited about it.
I will definitely be there because I have started and stopped so many things over the past couple of years that I definitely need to get into that. And Carly, I know you have your cacao and creative writing. Do you want to mention what you're doing in that creative writing? Because I love that idea.
Yeah, so the creative writing is called Notes from the Book I'm In. And it's not journaling because, as most of you know, I suck at journaling. I cannot journal to save myself very well. Like, it's not consistent. I struggle to do it. It's too, I don't know, like it's just not me. I'm more of a creative person.
Now,
So I do a lot
Carly,
of
what would you say to me? What do you say to me when I say I'm not a creative person? Right? So you can't say I suck. You do not suck at anything.
Okay. I suck at first person writing in a journal sense. So I come.
How about we reframe that? I'm better at.
I am better at
Okay.
writing the third person.
There we go.
And so I stumbled across this concept of, instead of journaling your day like a dear diary or a scripting, which you are fantastic at,
Thank
I
you.
was like, what can work for me so that I can be more consistent with my writing, because it's something that I wanted to do more of. So I came across this concept, and you're not writing a book from start to finish, you're just writing parts of books. So I don't have mine here with me, it's downstairs because I was writing in it this morning. But like, a book itself has, chapters, but it's got a contents page, it's got title page, acknowledgements page. As a reader, you might have margin notes. As an author, you might have first draft, you might have parts that don't even end up in the draft. And so the concept of this is just writing scraps of snippets as if it was a book. So you're writing as if your life is the book. You're both the author and the character. And so I write in the third person so that you have a better perspective. It's not about writing affirmations or trying to solve problems or fix problems. You're literally just writing the story, writing it down, so that you're kind of side by side to it. And I'm really enjoying it. It's something that I've been consistently doing since Christmas Eve now.
Wow.
I know, that's the longest I've consistently written when it's not
awesome.
writing a meditation script or a poem like this is. And I'm really enjoying it because I'm stepping sort of outside of myself and seeing things. And even though it's not about solving or fixing the problems in the moment, but when you write in a different perspective, obviously you still get insights and stuff, even though we're not solving it within the writing. So I'm really, really enjoying doing it. And my pen name is Lee, Ley, which is the last three letters of my name. So, and it's funny because when I write about you, Violet, you're Let, Let. So basically, and Jordan. So for those who don't know, Jordan in the comments is my husband. He's downstairs. So when I write about Jordan, he's Don, Don.
That's funny. I love it.
And that way, then it's kind of like I'm still writing about that person, but it's a bit disconnected. So you're not really in the throes of feeling the emotions. You can literally just write it down. Yeah.
Now, will we get to read all this, or is this just for you?
Well, I do read some of it out in my lives. There's parts that I keep to myself, but then there's samples that I read out, no problem at all as well.
Nice. I love it. Love it. Joanne says mine is Josie Glow. I like that. I choose that to honor your mom. That was nice. I like that. Aw, love it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Carly had some great questions, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I figured maybe you could throw out some of the questions for our book, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I'm going to preface by saying thank you for whoever of the wheel chose the book, but thank you for pushing me outside of my comfort zone. Universe. I'll preface it by saying the reason why I skimmed the book, I'm actually a really big reader and I love reading. So I was actually really excited. But I have this limiting belief around the word God and religion. And it was just like, it wasn't even just one or two words here or there. It was like smeared throughout the whole book. So I really struggled. And I think the principles were fantastic. I think that there was some amazing wisdoms and insights in the book, I just really struggled to get past the God this, the God that, the God this. And there was a line where I even highlighted it. It was like, oh, when Eve stole the apple. I'm like, yeah, there we go. Go back to blaming the women, like it's just like my brain was like, I can't take in these amazing principles because there's just way too much religious stuff in there for me. That was just my opinion, right? But I think on a whole, there was certainly some stuff in there that was, I think, the whole love is real and powerful and fear is the illusion. I think that was the biggest thing for me, like to try to let go of that ego side of the brain to get through to find the love and to see things in a different way.
Did
What
we
was your
say for people who just joined, we're talking about a return to love? I know sometimes because while you're in the live, you can't go back and look at the
Exactly.
description.
I should
Yeah.
have put a little overlay on the top that said that. I learned how to do that.
I went on a bit of a tangent about religion and my beliefs and stuff now, and now I've forgotten what your question was for me. So
Uh,
like,
I don't know, but I think at some point in her life, Carly was probably burned in one of those witch hunts, and that's why I think.
oh yeah, definitely. I said that to my girl. I said that to my girlfriend once. She's like, "Oh, where do you reckon we first met?" And I'm like, "I don't know, probably like 1700s. We all burned at the stake together."
But yeah, I can understand that though. There was a time in my life where I would not have listened to a book that mentioned God so often. It was just a time in my life when I had a total block around that. And when I heard the book a few years ago, I was okay. And I was like, oh, what changed for me?
Yeah. And I don't know, like there might be other people in Australia here that think differently, but from my gathering here in Australia, it's not as big a religion pull as what I find. Well, like again, it's perceived what I see on TV and movies and stuff, but I gather that Americans have a
Well,
bit more of a religious thing than what Australians do. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't, it's not, like I see
yeah,
shows and stuff
my
that like, oh, so you don't go to church on Sundays, and like half of Australia wouldn't go to church on Sundays. Probably the portion of people is a lot smaller than what you would get the population in America. So we're a bit more chill.
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Yeah.
So
What do
yeah,
you think?
and
What do you
it's
think
just
out there, community? Are we more apt to go to church here in the U.S.? Maybe we are. I don't know.
I
and
think
see, like
so.
I
The
think
whole country was built on this idea of a religious. I
True.
yeah.
think the whole country was, yeah, it's definitely prevalent
Whereas
here
our
for
country
sure.
was built on convicts
And Vegemite.
and Vegemite. And like I had two parents. I was raised, one parent was Catholic and one parent was an atheist. So it was like,
Wow.
I had both ends of the spectrum. So we didn't know whether we were Arthur or Martha half the time. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I was raised Catholic. My dad was Pentecostal, but we were raised Catholic because that was my mom's religion. And yeah, I still carry a lot of that Catholic guilt around.
Yeah, I am the grandfather of a preacher man, so but they didn't
Oh,
he didn't force religion on us, though. He was a believer that you had to choose it. So, I mean, I was
nice.
forced to go to church when I was young, but there came a time when I got older that I had a choice, and as soon as I realized I had a choice, I was like, "Oh, I'm not going."
yeah.
And
That's
then
what
I
we all
went.
did.
Well, this is how confusing it was for us. The atheist that we were brought up with was the person who was a butcher, right? So he was a butcher, an atheist, and still wouldn't let us eat red meat on Good Friday.
Oh,
I'm like, dude,
wow.
how hypocritical? Like, what are you trying to like talk about confusing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, what parts do you want to believe in? So yeah.
I
And
saw
I
a comment
appreciate
there.
I want to say I appreciate your your perspective, Carly, because I thought I was going to have a similar experience. Actually, when I
Mm.
first, you remember when this came up last time, and I said, "Oh, this has been on my shelf," because when I had tried to pick it up before, it was a no-go. I was like, "No, absolutely."
Ah,
And
yeah.
and since then, I have done a lot of work around, I would say, just the metaphysical principles around God, and especially with Miss Carol's lives, and And I study Ernest Holmes, The Science of Mind. So I want to say that I appreciated that this book, even though it is very Christian based and talks about God a lot, it also really expanded my idea around certain principles like the Holy Spirit, like atonement, all of these very religious based Christian words that they use in a more metaphysical way, even in this book, even though it's still very much God and Christian based, it really made it more digestible for me. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Mm. That's good. I'm glad because, and I think, imagine like if that book used the word higher power instead of God throughout it. Like I imagine that I would have had a very different connection to it. But like I said,
Absolutely.
the actual principles, and that's what I took notes on. I went through, skimmed each chapter, took notes on each chapter, and the principles I totally agree with. I like chapter 1, right? The power of love, right? The book starts by telling us that love is not just an emotion, but as a real force that shapes how we experience life. I agree with that. Totally agree with
Hmm.
that. And
Hmm.
yet there was 80% of the rest of that chapter that I was like,
Yeah.
so it was like I had this whole love-hate relationship with the book, which was, it was such a weird concept for me. So yeah, that was me. So
Have you ever tried to listen to the actual Course in Miracles? I'm sure, Maisha, you probably have, right? Because I know you do a lot. No? Oh, I thought you did because
Haven't.
I know you do a lot of that kind of stuff with your books clubs. Wow, okay.
Yeah,
Because
I haven't.
I tried once and I couldn't do it.
It's funny. I popped into, there's a teacher on here called Max Ryan, and he's a
Yeah,
Course in
yeah.
Miracles expert, self-proclaimed expert. And he was doing a live on the course, like, what is it really? And I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. So I can get a like bird's eye
Wow.
view of like what the Course in Miracles really is. And I really appreciated his explanation of it too, because he basically talked about it as a fundamental mind training, and similar to Science of Mind. Like Science of Mind is like a mind. I don't know if training is not quite the right word, but a mind training program to basically dismantle your belief system so that in anything that's preventing you or blocking you from love. That's what it
mm,
is. It's a spiritual text in order to understand how your mind is working, and how and all of the things that are basically in the way of love. And
I
I was like,
love that. That's a
I can
great
get down with
explanation.
that. I can get
Yeah.
down with
Yeah, yeah.
that.
yeah. Well, that was one of the things I wrote down, that it's like fear limits us and love expands us.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. A couple
Yeah.
of good comments here. Jordan says you don't need to go to church to find God or higher being or whatever the source name to each religion. And Jordan, you wrote that fine. Wendy says, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and A Return to Love references that a lot. Yeah, she just substitutes source for God, and that helps. John says, I was raised in the Catholic Church cult. I like that you added cult, and have been trying to overcome my guilt. John, I feel you there because I have struggled my entire life to overcome my guilt as well. And restore my self-esteem ever since. I have learned to stop worrying what other people think. What I think is what counts. Yeah. Chris says, Australia and Canada, interchangeable 1 and 2 on the top tier cold countries. Is that what it says? Cold countries to have an absolutely phenomenal time in. I love that.
That's because we're so chill.
Chris would know.
I love that.
We're so chill. We don't care. We walk around with no shoes on. Half the time we don't have any clothes on.
Yeah, I've questioned you on that one because I'm like, here in the US, you can't go into a store or restaurant because they have these signs that you have to have on your shirt and your shoes, and
We
when you
went to Wet and Wild. We went to Wet and Wild the other day, and I swear I saw a lot more butt cheeks than what I think I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like, there was next to no clothing happening at that place. So, and no one was batting an eyelid.
What did Jordan say? Jordan says, my auntie husband had a talk with me about spirits and my beliefs, and he was very interested until auntie lost her mind over just talking to me. Her beliefs are Mormon or Jehovah. Okay, funny how they can preach to others and someone asks a question and it's a no-go. Yeah. Just because you're talking to someone doesn't mean I'm converting him. I love that. He was genuinely interested. Fear is real. Yeah, absolutely. And John says, I believe in a higher power, but don't think we are monitored. All right.
So here's a question then, based on that. How do you think fear shows up in people's lives, and what would it look like to choose love instead?
That's a great question. And I think so much of what we experience, what we're experiencing right now, is a lot of fear. You know, what's going on without getting into detail in our country right now is just riddled with fear.
Mhm. Yeah, I love how this book talks about that the spiritual journey is the journey to choose either love or fear in each moment. Like it's that's the journey, that's the practice is to make a choice between fear and love in each moment. Yeah, fear manifests in all kind of ways. It could be something collective, right? Whether what like the the way that our news is portrayed here in this country is definitely fear-based. And so I can feel it in my body. One of the ways, I'm a somatic practitioner, so I'm always like, how does this show up in my body? I had an example on the way to the gym, and this is like, I'll just give the example. You can put it in whatever category you want. But so I was right on the way to the gym, right? And I see on the street that there is something laying in the middle of the street. So I'm preparing myself to see a dead animal, right? And as I get closer to the animal, I see, oh, it's a cat. And I like have this moment where I'm like, God blessing the cat's, spirit and life. And then I automatically feel this like tightening and clenching in my body. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, and I think about my two cats and I'm like thinking gratitude that I have that they're in the house safe, right? But then I immediately have the thought that I'm not going to let them back outside because I don't want them to end up like this cat. And so I felt my body contract. I felt this tightening in my belly. I felt my whole perception, like my whole everything in my perception just go like this. It like just narrowed significantly, and there was no there was no opportunity for any other possibilities to exist. But I got to keep my cat safe, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I was moving out of that fear vibration, and I noticed it immediately because I had been thinking about this book, and I'm like, oh, that was really interesting. And I said, what if I choose to just focus on love in this moment? What does love feel like in this moment? What would the loving response to this moment be? Like, so I breathed into that. My whole body relaxed. My stomach loosened. My shoulders dropped, and then I was able to allow more in. Like the perception literally widened, so that I was like, the possibilities are more than just that what I just witnessed right there, right? That is not the only possibility that is on the table. But that's what fear does. It limits our capacity to really appreciate that we do actually have unlimited possibilities and our minds are really powerful. And I like that this book talks so much about how powerful the mind is in choosing which route and how it is that we align with love or fear in every moment. And so that's like the biggest takeaway for me is that fear limits our ability to see what else is possible.
Yeah. Well, Chris says he's currently reading A Course in Miracles. Wow.
And I read it 365 Science of Mind daily. I have that book too, Chris. I read that every day, the 360 Science of Mind.
Mm.
And fear and doubt are byproducts of lack. That's an interesting statement.
I love that statement.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Because if we feel like we've got enough, what is there to be afraid of?
Yes.
And that's where, that's why the world is turning to shit, really, because we've got these powers that be that put the fear into us that we, like advertising. You've got to have this to have your hair look like this. You've got to do this, go to this gym so that you look like these people, and it's advertising is purely about what they want us to want. And it's that continual need. It's that continual need to fulfill external needs.
Yeah.
And, when we realize that what we have within us is enough, that's when we start coming from a place of love, whether it's love for ourselves or love for other things. It's like, well, that's great that that lady's hair looks like that or that that person goes to that gym, but I'm okay. I don't need that. But that's not how the world runs. And, if we took away that force of other people telling us what we need and what we should do and how we should think, how differently the world would look. But then someone's always got to feel like that they're in power. So, it's tough because we're all sitting here as evolving humans, knowing, the easiest route to take to have a more peaceful world. But unfortunately, the powers that be just are run by that fear of
Yeah.
their own ego and their own lack, so that they want to stay on top of the ladder, and it just snowballs down from there.
Mhm.
And
It's crazy. It's a
and
crazy
and
cycle.
and social media doesn't help because, like you said, the advertisers are telling us what to believe. Social media does the same thing, and people just buy, they just buy it. They buy into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this book talks about how our work is to untangle the knots of suffering of duality, which is this like the ego's idea that we are separate from God. And I like this or source or universe. I like this idea. I like this because it really brings us back into the unification, right? And this book even goes so far as to say that we're not just um one, like we are one mind, one person. So like it really brings home this idea that how you treat someone is how you treat everyone. And
Yeah.
this is one of the things that I think is keeping us in this really effed up situation that we're finding us in. And it's the reason why we keep going further down that same line is because we really do believe that we are separate. We really do not
Yeah.
believe that we're the same as someone else. We believe that we're better than someone else because we would never make that decision. We would never do that thing, right? And that
Yes.
creates more separation and creates actually more suffering. And instead, if we choose to, and I said this on a live previously of yours, Violet, but if we choose to see anybody, even this book talks about having a wall, right? Actually, I'm just going to read this passage because I thought
Yes.
it was
Yes.
so powerful. It talks about sometimes people think that calling on God or source or the universe means inviting a force into our lives that will make everything rosy. The
Mm.
truth is, it means inviting everything into our lives that will force us to grow. And growth can be messy. The purpose of life is to grow into our perfection. Once we call on God, source, universe, everything that could anger us is on the way. I thought that was so potent. I was like, that is that not the
Yes.
truth? And it says
Yes.
why? Because the place where we go into anger instead of love is our wall. Any situation that pushes our buttons is a situation where we don't yet have the capacity to be unconditionally loving. It's the Holy Spirit's job to draw our attention to that and help us move beyond that point. And for those who haven't read the book, the Holy Spirit in this book is translated as, and I love that they talk about the Holy Spirit like this, God's alternative to fear. The Holy Spirit is the call to awaken. It is the great transformer of perception. So everything is perception.
I love
Everything is
that.
a choice in perception. So I thought that was really important because a lot of people think, when you go on your spiritual journey, it's all going to be love and light. And it's like, no, you got to go into those shadows and then back up again and then shadows and then back up again. It's going to be messy. It's going to be painful. And it doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it right. Like you're on the path. This is the path. The path is not
Yeah.
all love and light. And
Yeah.
so I love that this book talks about that in that way, that the wall is, like, I call it your upper limit or your edge, right? It's like when you come up against that upper limit, your edge, like whatever you choose to do in that moment determines how your life is, determines the outcome of your life and how you see your life, how you perceive your life.
Yeah.
One of the quotes in the book that I did like was, when we attach value to things that aren't love, money, prestige, approval, we're loving the things that can't love us back.
It's a good
Mm.
point.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
the same as that wall, isn't it? Like we're trying to love basically something that isn't able to reciprocate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That you're trying to break through this wall by loving, yeah, but where are we actually putting?
Yeah, placing our power outside of ourselves and
Yeah.
believing that something outside of ourselves is going to fulfill us when that's not actually possible.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I've often spoken about that because that's something that I know I did for a long time. In my own marriage, you get married and you think this person's gonna just make me happy and everything's gonna be great, and then as it evolves, you realize that that person can't make you happy. You have to make you happy. And I think Marianne Williamson mentions something about that. That when you realize that love is who you are, that changes. And I write that in my journal. I journal every day and I always end it with love is who I am. And I think when I shifted my perspective that way, when I took that responsibility off of my husband and put it on myself and decided that I was the love of my life, everything changed for me. Like nothing that he did or didn't do affected me. It just doesn't. And it's such a great thing to remember, and I love that she goes into detail about that in the book. So much of what she said, around that, what you just mentioned, it's like light bulb after light bulb for me.
Yeah. Well, the cacao ceremony I did on Sunday night, and I've edited and waiting for it to be approved to go up onto Insight Timer. It's about me being the one I've been waiting for.
Yes.
To reparent ourselves the way we need to be reparented, the way we need to be loved, that it's up to us to show up for ourselves. And that was the whole theme of the ceremony. And and it's that whole, I was the same. The moment I realized, hang on a second, it's not up to Jordan or Ella to fill my cup or make me happy or provide me with joy. Like, I get it from them as a bonus, but it's up to me to do it for myself.
Or validation, right? I was always looking for validation. Like, why isn't he telling me how great I am today? And, why isn't he walking around announcing to everybody what a great wife he is? Carrying that sign.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the other thing that I'd highlighted in the book, where she wrote, do you prefer to be right or happy?
Mm-hmm.
And so often those sorts of situations that you were referring to come down to the fact that we're trying to get our point across, like what Maisha was saying. We end up separating ourselves because we're trying to be right. But at the same time, if we want to be happy, we've got to make that decision. Like, is it up to us to try to force everybody to have our same perspective?
Right.
Or work on just our happiness, allow everybody to, have their own. So
and that's another thing that I've struggled with. My husband and I are as politically opposite as a married couple could be, and for the longest time, I was like, "How the hell did I end up with this man? What went wrong here? What did I do? What, I didn't script this." And then I tell people, I'm like, I've been working remotely for 8 years, and I love that because when I was in an office, I had to listen to people's opinions and their bickering, and I got away from all that. But now I'm home, and now I'm married to somebody who's giving me his opinion, and I'm like, wait, I can't remotely tune him out now, right? I have to deal with this. So I finally said to myself, okay, what is this teaching me? This is teaching me that I can't remove everybody from my life who doesn't agree with me, and that I have to find a way to make peace with that. And I have. It's been a process. But I definitely have, and it's definitely helped me evolve because, you can't. It'd be great if you could just sit in a room all day with people that agree with everything that I agree with, but that's not reality. So it was something, Jordan it was a challenge.
I had a similar conversation the other day where he was saying he was reading an article or something about monks, and the monk or someone who was saying, I'll probably butcher this, but was saying something about even as monks, they need to go and integrate into the world, because it's all good and well to be quiet and peaceful and meditative in four walls, but if you don't integrate into the world, then how are you supposed to
function?
And also, like, you can't just cut yourself. Like, I talk all the time about cutting off people that don't resonate or don't nourish me in my life. And I think there is a degree of that as well,
right?
That you can't cut everything and everybody off.
Right.
But obviously you can still have control over who has direct access to your energy. But we still need to be able to live in a world where there are differing opinions and stuff. Keep our peace as much as possible, but also know that, we can extend out into the world. And I think the sign of growth and evolving and open perspectives is that we can have differing opinions without it turning into angry confrontation,
Yes.
and everybody go, you know what, that's okay. I love that you've got that opinion. I love that you think the sky is purple. I think it's blue. But you know what? Let's have the conversation,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, true. I like what Chris says here. I'm the anti-conformer. No, sir, no, ma'am. I will not fit into the box you're trying to force me into. I'm a former U.S. Marine who successfully completed POW training. So good luck changing my mind once it's set. And yeah, we encounter that a lot, right? People have their opinions and they will not hear, they won't be changed. And I actually, in a heated argument, said that to my husband. I said, if you think you're going to change my opinion, you're barking up the wrong tree, because I was angry.
Yeah.
And then I had to step back and I was like, what are you doing? Like, I can't block him. I can't, if it's social media, I could have blocked him, but it's like, we're here, we're seeing each other every day, and I have to find a way to listen to him. I still don't agree, but I can still love him for who he is and everything else that he brings to our relationship. Yes, that part is hard for me to deal with, but I need to evolve and I need to say, okay, we're not always going to have the same opinion, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm going to be angry or, throw things at him.
I'm lucky. I have a very similar political, not that we're very political in this house anyway, but I have obviously similar political views to Jordan. But unfortunately, my husband, who I know is here listening, I'm going to throw him under the bus here. He's a massive conspiracy theorist. So I've got to listen. I've got to listen to conspiracy theories all the time. And I'm like, I just smile and nod. And half the time I do agree and I can see it, but I'm just like,
Yeah, and I immediately I want to fight, I'm like, oh, how could you say that? What? Angie says, putting the ego aside and unconditional love. And I like what Evie said, sit in a room with my lovely puppy. I do. My puppy is always such a source of comfort for me.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate, I don't remember everything she said about relationships and commitment, but I remember it being very strong. And I was like, woo, it definitely made me uncomfortable, which means I have some growing to do around it. But it was really like, you know, like being paying attention to not what you're saying, but the energy you're bringing to what you're saying, like the intention
Yes.
behind it,
Yes.
communicating to understand, and that the value or the purpose of every relationship is to realize pure love. And so
Yeah.
if you can find a place of understanding and you can get to that place where you can just be in that space of pure love with someone, regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum or what it is that person is doing or saying that you don't agree with, then you are in your spiritual practice and you are unified, right? And so like
Yeah.
I thought that was so powerful, because a lot of times we go, oh, this person doesn't agree with, or I don't like this person's what that person said about that, and you leave. And she does talk about that too,
Right.
because I was like, are you supposed to stay in every situation? And
Right.
she was like, no. And she had this really beautiful way of talking about the transitions of relationships too, and like how sometimes leaving a relationship is the highest form of love that you can offer to that person. And it's not that love is no longer present. It just shifts, it changes, it transforms. And so like, I don't know, I really appreciated her view on relationships, all relationships, but
Yeah.
especially like romantic relationships too, and like the transition of them, and how you can move through love even as relationships change and transition. Because I think that's something that a lot of us experience as we're on our spiritual journey, right? We come closer to people, we move further from people, and
Right.
our circle of friends shifts and changes, and that's hard on a lot of us, because we're like, we've been attached to these people for so long. And so how do you move through that process of feeling closer or further from people with love? I think that was really powerful part of the book.
Yeah, I
Something
agree.
you said about communication, it reminded me that, in this world, we've been taught to listen to respond and not listen to hear.
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and for me, that was one of the biggest things that I learned, because I, as a neurospicy person, as soon as you hear a word or something that reminds you of something, you want to jump in and give your 2 cents, which is me. There's
Me
something that
too.
I've had to learn to do, is to learn to hold space better for people so that they can just speak, that not everything needs a response. Sometimes they just need to be heard.
Yeah.
Um, And I think that would go a long way with that whole communication and the way the relationships in any sense can evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one. I try to do that. I try to give that little pause and listen. And sometimes I just get so heated. I'm like, I'm trying. And the whole, listening to learn too. It's like, like I try to pay attention and say, all right, what can I learn from this situation? Of course, with my husband, mostly what I've learned is that I can't block and remove everybody. But I think it was a good lesson. I think I needed to learn that. And I really think that's why this is happening, because I said, how could this happen to me? Like, I mapped this out perfectly, and now we're not political people. I'm like, how are these conversations coming up all of a sudden? And I think it's a lesson for me. And so now I look at it that way and I'm like, all right, bring it.
The one thing I did want to ask both of you is like, she talks in the book about how a miracle worker is an artist of the soul and that miracles are the shift in perception, right? But miracles shift us from a get to give mentality. And as people, other guides who are here on Inside Timer, the spirit of generosity is something that we come onto this platform with, right? Like we don't necessarily come onto this platform to get anything because we're not getting paid. We're not being compensated like in the normal sense of like a capitalistic structure, right? We're literally here to share our gifts. And they talk a lot about this in this book about how the generosity of sharing our gifts, like we were given gifts for a reason and we're meant to give them away generously and unrestrictedly and boundlessly without exception. And so I just wanted to see if that part of the book spoke to you and how you feel about that in relation to like what it is that we do here on Insight Timer, because I find that my why is really important, right? Coming on Insight Timer, because you can get into a resentful space.
Oh, yeah.
Giving so much of yourself on a platform where you're not compensated in the traditional sense, right? And so I'm curious to see what you all think about that.
One of the things that made me think of is when I first became a teacher here, I thought, well, what am I doing here? I'm not a meditation person or a yoga person. These people have so many gifts. And I love that she said that people like Martin Luther King and JFK, like one of their biggest gifts was not so much what they were doing, but the fact that they brought people together, they motivated people, they brought up that energy. And I thought that's so beautiful, because I look at it, I'm like, all right, well, so my gift here is that I love bringing people together. So I love that. It kind of gave me a different way to look at it rather than always being like, oh, I just like technology and, that's what I do. And I don't have any gifts. So, that part of the book for me was like really, like it really touched me. I really liked it.
I must have missed that part of the book. That was obviously a part of it that I really skipped over.
And by the way, I laughed at Chris's comment. Chris says we can't hang out with Violet because Violet likes to fight so much. And Chris, that's definitely the Puerto Rican in me. We are feisty and we start fighting immediately. And I know it scares my husband.
That used to be me, and now I just don't have the energy for it. So, but like in response to, even if I hadn't read the book, the response to the question in general, there are moments where I have that whole. I want to give to this community for no other reason other than a gift of service. And then there's times where, something will happen and your back will get up and you'll be like, well, fuck you, we're doing this. And, sometimes it gets thrown in our face and not appreciated. And then so that there's times where, and I know I haven't done a joint session with Jordan for a while, and that was because in our last joint session, Jordan actually got not attacked in a way, but there were certainly people in the audience that made Jordan feel like his gift wasn't appreciated. And so he was like, don't ask me to come back on for a while. I need space from doing a live on Insight Timer for that reason. And I respect his decision. So that's why Jordan's not doing a live with me for a while, because it's like he wasn't feeling respected or appreciated. So
I didn't realize that. So you should rename yourself Half of a Smile from Heaven.
Okay.
Every now and again, I'll probably convince him to come back on, but it's like, it's that whole, and it's that perception, what we're perceiving as this amazing gift of service that we're giving might not always be received by this in the same way, because it's that whole, one of the quotes that I've always lived by is, and my thoughts about it have changed in a different way, even though I still agree with it, is I'm responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for how it's received.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so years ago, I used to say that because I was a bitch and I just didn't give a shit who I offended, right? So I'd be like, I'm responsible for what I say. I don't care how you receive it. Whereas now,
Take that.
Yeah, take that. So I still agree with the sentiment, but I do it in a different way now because I'm responsible for what I say, because I take accountability for how I say it, right? But unfortunately, no matter what we say or how we say it or how great our gift and teachings are, it's not always going to be received from the same perspective, because we've got people here all around the world that are going through a multitude of different things on their journeys and at different points in their healing, that they might not be quite ready to receive that teaching. So it's that balance of wanting to give while also protecting our gift at the same time. So yeah, and I think over the Christmas period where I had a bit of a break, it's really taught me that I don't have to be here as much as I was. Like now I'm giving myself that grace to go, my Sunday night cacaos is definitely a not negotiable. I'll show up for that. And once a week, where the week allows me to, I'll show up for a creative session. Whereas previously I was like, I wanted to give and give and give and give. And I was kind of like over giving to a degree.
Me too.
And so I found that balance now where I'm like, it's got to nourish me, because then when it nourishes me fully, even if it's not received by the other side, it's okay.
Right.
Because I haven't overgiven. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes absolute sense. Yeah.
It's that relationship between reciprocity that I think is really important. And a lot of us teachers have been having that conversation of like, what does a reciprocal relationship with this kind of platform look like? And how are we filling our cups? And I like the way Chris said it too, is the gift is the impact of what you're giving to others. And that is part of the fulfillment, right? But you also have to like for me, moving into the winter season, like moving into the holidays after I finished my last book, I was like, I'm taking a break. Like I'm just completely, I'm not going to schedule anything. There's part of me that felt like conflicted around that. Like, oh, I should just get something on the schedule. But I really needed there to be nothing Insight Timer related on my schedule. I needed to just focus on me. I needed to slow down. I needed to rest. Like resting, slowing down, communing with God, that is what I do in the winter, so that I know how to move through the rest of my year. That's how I get the information. That's how I get the insight, the guidance, the wisdom to figure out what is mine to do this year, and where is my energy most needed and best used, I guess, best utilized. And so, yeah, I give myself the space and the grace to say, I need to slow down on the lives, or I need to switch it up. Like something that I was excited about doing, I'm in a different energy now. So
Yes.
I get to be in a different space and put out some different offerings, you know?
Right. I was having this conversation with Carly yesterday. I canceled a lot of lives because I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm like stressing myself out.
She sends me a message going, will you be offended if I cancel our creative writing live? I'm like, no, you do
Yeah.
you. Like,
because I was like, exactly. I did the same thing. I took some time off around the holidays, and then I came back full force, and I'm scheduling, and I'm like, all right, I'm tired already. And I think for me, a lot of it is ego, right? Like she mentions the ego. It's like, I'm afraid if I don't keep scheduling, everyone's going to forget me. And then who will I be? I'll be nobody. And then I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Like, stop.
Yeah. And I forget that you guys are in winter. So it is
I'm hibernating.
Yeah. It is your hibernation time. So it is time for a lot of you guys that, to slow down, take that pressure off yourself, but it's that whole, when you said just a moment ago, Violet, like if I don't show up, will they forget me?
Right.
And what something that I said to you is, when you do show up, they're more appreciative of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the energy we want to go for,
Right.
not that people need us because
Right.
they need our energy to keep themselves going, because they've got to be able to do that for themselves.
Yep.
But to be able to appreciate when they do see us.
And I realize I'm still looking for that validation, and I'm trying not to do that anymore. And I'm like, wait, I'm still doing it. I'm still trying to please everybody, and I have to, please myself.
And that's why this year my word of the year is nourish. If it nourishes
Love
me,
that.
it stays. If it feeds me, it stays. If it doesn't, it fades. I'm out.
Nice.
It's not happening.
I love that.
Hey, CG. Hey, Carla. I love what CG said. She says, and that's okay. Oh, this conversation is juicy.
Yes.
That being okay with not receiving or even appreciating my gifts was some serious work, but my gifts are still mine, even if others can't appreciate the value of them.
Because I know CG felt, we've had this conversation with CG before where, she stepped back from doing lives because it wasn't being received in a very appreciative way. And all respect for her to go, you know what? No, I'm going to do what's right for me and not just show up because this community needs more of me. I need me. So I thought that was amazing when she told us that. It was great. Yeah.
Because you don't need to prove yourself to anybody. Yes.
There comes the voice.
There's the voice from the dude.
Adding to Carly's thing, Carly was asked to take a workshop lead a couple of years ago, just to do a what do you call it, a task or whatever it is, lead it.
Oh, an activity.
And the people there weren't ready for Carly, so they lost their mind. They abused her, they yelled, they screamed.
Had grown adults throwing things, screaming and storming out of the room.
Over a
And this was a group of people that I had trained with from a holistic healing point of view for 6 months. And I facilitated this activity and they all lost their shit. They lost their mind at the end.
And I said to Carly, when she come home in tears, and the one that she thought would be the best was actually the worst behaved, like child tantrum. And when I spoke to Carly, I said they weren't ready to hear it, but I said, you've set it in their mind now. Some will take 3 to 6 months and they will come back and they will go, oh my God, I didn't realize where in my life you actually made an impact, but at the time we reacted badly. So sometimes you trigger something, and it might the greatest teachers trigger us because it's inside, and it's not that
this book was my greatest teacher. It triggered me.
But nothing can trigger somebody. You trigger yourself. And I said to her, calm down. You haven't done anything wrong. You've actually done something really right. Because all these people that thought they were so spiritually minded over a simple task lost their shit. And I said to her, I had to calm down too, because otherwise I get very protective over Carly. And I calmly told her, and then what did they do? One by one, went, oh my God, that actually was an amazing experience. And it made me look at where else in my life am I not choosing me? Where am I saying no, or I'm just putting others before me constantly? It
certainly planted a lot of seeds, that's for sure. But it came down to that. I was responsible for like the activity that I ran, but I wasn't responsible for how they perceived it, how they received it, and how their mind was triggered by it. That wasn't on me.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes,
nope. That's okay.
He walked in the room and he's like, have you been talking about me? I've been in the shower. And I'm like, yes, I was talking about you.
He's like, they're not listening to me in the chat. I'm going in.
But like you asked Carly, leading up to Christmas, I've been doing readings one-on-one, and this lady come and she goes, I just want you to be honest. Give it to me. So I did. And if you've ever seen that Wanda Sykes meme or reel
where
where
the person says,
person,
I want to know what the problem is. And she goes, you motherfucker.
well,
That's what Jordan said to the lady. You're the problem.
and she just sat there and took it, and she actually agreed. Whether I see her again, but at some point,
So
yeah,
that Chris, when Chris, I think he said, was it Chris or somebody? No, it might have been somebody said candid Carly. Yeah, candid Jordan as well. Like, yeah.
I told somebody, and I don't. Everybody can hear this. I don't care. I actually lost it, and Carly had headphones on, and I said, "You need a psychiatrist, not a psychic, if that's all you took from that." And I
Wow.
said, this woman actually needed help. I said, "Look, it's over. I'm not saying anymore, and I'm not going to say what it was about, but I'm like, oh my God, you need help." And I refused to take that responsibility onto my shoulders. And Carly goes, "I can't believe you said that to her." And I said, "But she laughed when I said it." And I'm like, she's not taking it seriously how serious the issue was in her life. So sometimes people you need to just go, right. And I'm to a point in my life, I'm just going to give it to people straight because I'll do it nicely. But but this particular thing was very, very, very serious. And she was not taking it. Yeah. And I'm like, you need to go see a psychiatrist, not a psychic.
Anyway, moving on.
Carly, give us another question, Carly or Maisha.
Another question.
I didn't
Okay.
prepare questions.
I did. So there was something about forgiveness as freedom that I really liked because this is something that I talk about all the time, that when we forgive, it's not about forgiving and forgetting. And it's not even about forgiving the other person. I always say forgiveness is actually for you.
Right.
So the question here is, do you think forgiveness always leads to healing? Why or why not? So for those who don't, have a different perspective on forgiveness, do you think forgiveness always leads to healing?
For myself, I have to say absolutely yes. I remember when I was going through my first marriage and divorced him and all that. Like, people could not understand why I was not angrier for the way he treated me, why I didn't tell the kids, just a lot of stuff going on at the time. And I used to say, what is it going to do for me to stay angry at him and to keep replaying this over and over in my mind? I had moved on. I was happy. Years later, I met someone else. I'm married to him now. We have a great life. And for me, the forgiveness is definitely healing, even though he was still angry. And, every now and then he'd still throw these little daggers my way. I was like, it's okay. I'm living a good life. I'm happy. So I definitely feel forgiveness is very healing. And like you said, I wasn't doing it for him. I was doing it for me. I released myself from all that pain and all that suffering, and I was happy, and it's okay.
Something Ange just wrote in the comments, which is powerful. When you put it into practice, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even what Kathy says, when you do it for yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about you, Maisha? What are your thoughts on forgiveness?
Yeah, forgiveness has been a growing edge for me for a few years now. I had Forgiveness Friday here on Inside Timer for quite a while. I actually facilitated Forgiveness Fridays in my my Buddhist inspired recovery program. So I have intentionally put myself in spaces where we were actively practicing forgiveness because I knew that that was something somewhere I needed to grow into. And my relationship with forgiveness has shifted and changed a lot. Like, at first I still was having, like, being in the victim mentality of, like, I need to forgive this person because they treated me bad or because they did this one thing or, this thing, this, that, and the other towards me. And I think it's the energy you bring to it that makes it a healing energy and a healing situation.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find exactly what I wanted to speak about in this book, but one of the things she says is forgiveness is selective remembering, a conscious decision to focus on love and let the rest go. And I think that's really important. She talks about
Yes.
how it's about seeing people as they are now, right? Rather than seeing them as an accumulation of faults or mistakes or hurts and pains. But says that people who do make us angry, however, are our most important teachers. They indicate the limits of our capacity for forgiveness. So I think it is a learning edge for many of us. Forgiveness
Yeah.
and forgiveness as I think of forgiveness as a liberation practice, a lightening, an easing of the heart, of our own heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the more that we are able to come into a true letting go and a forgiveness of like, not from like, I'm better than you or I wouldn't have done that kind of thing, but like a true, pure, unconditional love kind of forgiveness, then I think
Yes.
it really is a healing energy, a healing and a liberating energy.
I can tell you,
And
people don't like that. I can't tell you how many people would constantly
yeah,
remind me of everything that he did wrong. It was like they wanted me to be angry no
yeah.
matter what I said. They wanted me to be angry. And I'm like, just let it go. I did.
And
Yeah.
it's that unconditional, isn't it? It's that what you were just saying, Maisha, like choosing to forgive. Something Carla wrote in the comment there was really powerful and I really loved it. It says, the choice to forgive leads to healing. I believe forgiveness is an indicator of where you are in your healing. It doesn't lead to healing. It's
Yeah.
a place. Okay, sorry, my thing keeps moving. It's a characteristic that healing is taking place
Yes.
because it's that whole thing. We're never fully healed, are we? Healing isn't linear. It's a continual showing up. It's a continual doing. It's, new things are going to happen. So forgiveness is a constant,
Yeah.
and it becomes a part of who we are as a character if we have learned how to welcome healing into our life. Oh, sorry, welcome forgiveness into our life as part of our healing journey. I
Yeah.
don't know if I've, understood what Carla was saying, if that has, but I really love that perspective. I thought that was fantastic.
I also like what Maisha said about the energy because that's what it was for me. It was the energy that I was carrying, did I want to carry this energy of being angry at this person or did I want to carry, move forward in and gratitude for what I had now and what I learned and how I grew and how I evolved. Like I have no anger towards him. He's passed away since. But before that, I had no anger towards him. And a lot of people didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she talks about
And
how peace stems from forgiveness. That peace is like the
Yeah.
byproduct or
Yeah.
the result of forgiveness. And I talk about this a lot about how our ability to be well, to be peaceful, to truly live with ease depends on whether or not we are extending that kind of love that comes from forgiveness, without exception.
Yeah.
So, like the
yeah,
person that is grinding your gears the most, and a lot of us in America can think of some people right
Oh,
now
yeah.
that
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, are we able to extend that energy, that loving energy,
I'm trying.
that loving kindness energy? I do loving kindness practices weekly. This
I,
guy
w-
called
I
Finn
should
Bar
come.
here on Inside Timer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finn
Yeah.
Bar. He does it every. He does a
That's right.
something about the
I'm going to have to
some
start
a
going.
heart opening practice, and then a loving kindness. And it's really just really heart practices are a practice. Like when we grow up in a society where we are taught that we are separate, and we're taught that we are separate from love, and that we have to earn love and all of these things. It is literally a practice to be in a space of love, and to give and love, and to be open to receiving love. That is something that we have to devote time to practice. And so I think, especially with everything that's going on, it's so important for me to practice what I say, the altar of my heart, like that I devote time to being in that space myself, because that's the energy I want to give out. That's the only energy that's going to shift and change things. We're not going to
Yes.
shift and change this world and the paradigms and the structures that we built by just kind of being in the same energy, right? Of being so resentful and so anger and bitter about what's going on. But like, what is it that we're doing about it? And each of us
Yeah.
has the power to be in our own energy, to feel the love within ourselves, and then to radiate that love out. And that does actually make a difference.
Yes. And I
Very
loved
powerful
what she
concept.
said about how she tells people if something is really bothering you, like do something, like the people, oh my God, I'm so depressed because there's so many people out there who are hungry. And she says, well, are you contributing? Like make monthly donations and, do something. Don't just sit back and complain or be depressed or whatever. And I thought that was a great point too.
Mhm. It was funny. She said at one point in the book where she was complaining to one of her friends, and her friends was like, "Do you ever do anything for anybody else?" I was like, "Way to call it out."
I have a couple of friends who do that. I'm going to start saying that to them.
I lost a friend because I told her, which was fine. But I told a friend once that she had a problem to every solution and I couldn't handle it. It didn't matter.
Yes. Yes.
Brilliant.
I love that.
I was like,
I say that.
I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. I can't handle your drama. You've got a problem to every solution. Moving on. Like,
Yeah. 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 There's some people that they're just stuck in that. That's what they want to do. Yeah. And those were the people that I would block
they
and delete.
thrive on the drama. They thrive on the victim. Yeah. It's funny, Violet, when you said before how everyone was trying to tell you, oh, you're supposed to be angry about this.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be angry about this.
Like even my husband, like was always like, how could you forgive him?
Well,
I'm like, hey, you might need that someday too.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, like when I was doing a lot of my healing work around my mum, like I'd released a lot and I forgave myself and, I connected with it in a totally different way. And Jordan would be like, but what about when she did this? And what about when she did this? I'm like, I don't care about the specifics. Like I'm not dwelling on those little details anymore because I'm kind of trying to see it from a different energy point of view instead of, and those little details are just from my narrative. They're from my unhealed parts of my journey. They were, through my eyes. They might not necessarily have been the entire truth of it, right? So I wasn't going to wallow in those tiny little details. And that's how I kind of helped myself shift through getting stuck in the stories. Because that's what we do. We get stuck in those little stories instead of moving through and seeing it as a whole learning from an energy point of view.
Right.
So yeah, that really resonated as soon as when you said that, Violet. I was sitting there going, yeah, I know. Yes, we keep score. We never make progress. Exactly.
Yeah. I have that with my siblings too. They're always angry at my mom and I'm always taking care of her. And I'm like, I realize that she made a lot of mistakes. We all do, but they are so stuck and seething in that anger. And I'm like, I guess that's how I knew I was healed. Cause I was like, it's not affecting me the same way. So I've, like Maisha, you brought up peace. That's what I feel. I feel peace. It's like I haven't forgotten. Yeah, I haven't forgotten, but I have peace.
And we don't have to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Because holding on to it is like holding on to, I explain to people as my clients and stuff, when you hold on to your pain or your anger or whatever it is that you're refusing to let go of, you're holding on to a rope on fire. Who is going to get burnt?
Yeah.
You
What's that meme? That stuff is heavy. Put that shit down.
Yeah. It's like the anger is every time we get stuck in the anger of it or whatever that emotion is, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It's not going to happen. The only person you're affecting is yourself because you're the one holding on to it.
Right.
And we don't let it go for them. We don't let it go to release them of their any wrongdoings. We don't let it go to condone what they've done. We let it go to free ourselves, which is what she talks about. Like, that's the principle of it, to release yourself from that fear and that pain and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want another question?
Hang on a second. I'm just looking through these comments. Carla says, you don't need to forget to forgive. I agree, because I have not forgotten a lot of things, and I still have forgiven them. To forget what happened dishonors the lessons those experiences taught you. Absolutely. Chris says, you know that you were one of those block, delete. What's that? Shing? From memory people, when you reach me by any means, even... Yeah, that's the truth, right? Okay. Carla, oh wait, CG has something here. I actually use part of Mark Mesidorian's prayer for those difficult souls and energies. Mark says something about 1,000 meters of unconditional love or 10,000 meters of unconditional love. One day I was in prayer and I used that and sent 1,000 meters of peace to those difficult people. Oh, I like that. 10,000 meters of peace to those difficult people. Anyway, Mark is brilliant. He is. Okay, I'll have to check him out. Okay, I did not know I didn't know of him. How have I not heard of him? I will definitely check him out. Yes, do we want another question? Do we have another question?
Sure. I've got a couple here. What does surrender mean to you in your life? For me, surrender means I do me and I allow other people to be them. You do you. I'm surrendering to not trying to control another person, not having expectations, not having the need to be right, be seen, or be heard. That's how I surrender.
You stumped me on that one.
Maisha, what does surrender mean to you?
Oh, how to put into words. Yeah, surrender for me means that I am connected enough with what I consider to be God, source, universe, that I'm able to move with ease and clarity. So I don't have to have this tension and clinging to about what's going to happen in the future. And I'm also not clinging to what happened in the past. And I'm able to like move from where I am presently and with the knowing that I am where I'm supposed to be and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm minding my business.
Yes, that brings me back to peace again, to where I find my peace. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like me, it's this understanding that I have clarity. Oh my God, Onyx sounds like that. Jeez.
Yes, he's got a vicious bark, like he scares people.
Wow. Onyx looks so cute and fluffy. I can't even.
He's a little, I mean, he's 65 pounds of cute and fluffy, but he has a vicious bark. I'm gonna mute myself.
Violet looks cute and fluffy too. She
right, and I have ask my husband. Absolutely.
That is amazing. Yeah, it's just surrender for me is just moving from this place of knowing. Like one of my teachers says, this place inside of me that knows and knows that it knows, and I'm just in my dharma and on assignment and I'm clear. Like I don't know exactly I don't know what the outcomes are going to be. I don't know who's going to show up, but I know that I'm doing what I am divinely guided to do. And so I'm just moving with ease. That's what surrender means to me.
If it's meant to be, it'll be.
It'll be. Mm-hmm.
So following on from that then, what small practices help you stay peaceful?
Mm-hmm. Meditation for sure, and silent meditation specifically. Practices. I love yoga nidra. I love rest-based practices. I'm getting older and I'm like the slower, the yummier, like yin yoga.
I'm all for
yoga
yin.
nidra, the stretchy, slowness of things because life just feels like, and I have a Gemini rising and my mind is like all in the wind a lot and all up in the ethers. And so the practices that really get me to slow down and get my mind to be in the same place as my body really bring me peace. Scent-based things, obviously. Good lighting. Like I have a whole bunch of different lighting in my house. So like when it gets dark, I start to put the lights on in different so that my I did not mean to do that. How did I raise my hand?
Oh, I was like, what happened? We moved. I saw that move and I'm like, oh, what was that?
But lighting is really important in keeping my nervous system regulated, keeping me feeling calm, like understanding that it's time to start slowing down and get moving into my restful night. nature. Everybody who has been in my sessions know I'm an outdoor girly. I love hiking and biking, any kind of backpacking, camping, anything in nature brings me so much peace.
I'm an outsidey girl, not an outdoorsy girl. I like sitting outside in my own backyard, but not where there's snakes and giant lizards that are going to attack me on a hike. Because, we know everything in Australia wants to kill us when we go into the bush. So I like my backyard.
Mhm.
So
I
every
love
time
that distinction.
my girlfriends are like, "Oh, you want to come camping?" I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm an outdoor person, not an out. Sorry, I'm an outside person, not an outdoors person." There's a
Love
difference.
that distinction.
I think
Yes.
for me it's journaling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mine's definitely cacao and yin yoga. Like I attempted to do some flow yoga the other day, and I still managed to turn it into yin. Because we do everything at 100 miles an hour. And I think when I did that 75 slow last year, it really showed me why are we rushing to get everything done? Like, yes, certainly there's times where we do need to have a bit more of a pep in our step to get somewhere and get organized so the day runs smoothly. But like even washing our face, like what's the rush? We don't have to do everything at 100 miles an hour, So
Mhm.
slowing everything down for me has been a real part of it. And like I live my day quite slow, and I love that. So whenever there is like a rush, I get overwhelmed and overstimulated
Mm-hmm.
so fast. So that when Jordan comes up to me for a hug, I'm like, "Nope, I'm overstimulated. Don't come near me." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "We've done like all these things, and no, I'm done. I can't. I've got to go and sit outside and just breathe, be with fresh air, and have a cacao and just slow the heck down." So yeah. So the other day I'm trying to do this yoga flow, and before I knew it, I was in the same pose for 7 minutes. I was like, "Okay, so we're doing yin today."
Yep. Yep, that's me. That's me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what's one small act of love that you can think that could ripple out into daily life?
Mm. I mean, isn't that what we do on Insight Timer?
Mm. You know what? I think it's so interesting. This whole concept in this book about how you treat someone or anyone is how you treat everyone. I think looking people in the eye, smiling, saying hi, how are you, and meaning it, like having people be seen, appreciating people for what
Yes.
they do.
Yes.
There was a woman in my gym who's always cleaning the locker room, and people, she's almost like invisible.
Yes.
And people either that or they're just barking demands at her. And so I made it a point to like look her in her eye and say, "Hi, how are you?" And she was like kind of stunned and she was like, "I'm good, thank you." And just treating people, like
Yeah.
just really seeing people, like slowing down enough to really see people and to
Yes.
really check in with people, I think can go a long way.
Oh gosh, I love that. Yeah. I had an Amazon delivery earlier today, 5 minutes before I went live. Actually, it was Whole Foods. So it was groceries, so I had to put them away. So of course I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, I got to go live in 10 minutes, but I can grab the groceries because usually they just drop them off. No, today I got this 80-year-old man. He was adorable. He wanted to talk. He was moving really slow, so I went out to help him, and he wanted to talk. And I'm looking at my clock, and I'm like, crap, I got to start my live in like a couple of minutes. But I said, you know what? It's okay. I slowed down. I talked to him. He wanted to show me some stuff on his little display and how the ratings work. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's real interesting. And I just kept talking to him. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I got to go start this live. But I'm like, it's all right. It's going to happen. It'll work out. And
Mhm.
I agree. 100%. Like, I'm so big on that. And these people, like you mentioned, that, you're out somewhere and you're like, gosh, people are treating her like she's invisible. That's the person I'm always drawn to. That's the person I'm going to go talk to. I'm going to go acknowledge them. I'm going to make sure they know that they're seen. So I love that you said that.
I think it's a big I think of the word I need. It shows people's character of how they treat those invisible people of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That without those people, the world you know, it would go to shit because it wouldn't be
My
clean.
husband
and
says that all the time.
stuff
Yeah.
wouldn't get done, you know. So I've
Yeah.
got more respect for those people. And I suppose, you know, I grew up, my mum was a cleaner, or they were farm workers. You know, we were the little cogs in the wheels that kept the world going. You
Right.
know, and I've got more time for those people than for someone who's walking around with the Rolex, treating other people like shit. You
Yeah.
know, like it goes to show the character of the person as to how they treat a service person.
Yeah. And
Whatever service they give.
I'm the child of two blue collar workers, so I grew up around that. So that's always so important to me. You know, I'm a big tipper. I believe in, you know, just acknowledging these people. And I know it's because that's where I came from. I don't know if people who did not grow up in that environment necessarily feel the same way, but for me, it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't do tipping isn't a thing here. Like,
Oh, it's a thing here.
which, you know, like I've got thoughts on that, because it's like, if it's compulsory, then is it really a tip? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't look at it as compulsory. I do it because I want to. I mean,
but here, like if we go somewhere like our favorite restaurant, whatever, where we love the people,
they
we're there
expect
all the
it.
time,
Yeah.
I go back and take them something, like gift, like I'll go and buy them a box of chocolates, or you know, because there's just, you don't tip here, and like unless there's a jar, you can put something in the jar. But
Oh, wow, interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, it's not a thing here. Like you don't have to think about it at all. But it's that whole, like Carla said, stop and give someone a compliment. Like I'm always yelling out the window at the car. Oh my God, I love your dress. And Jordan's like, will you stop it? You look like a crazy person. I'm like, I can't help myself. Or like if I smell somebody, because I've got this thing with scents as well. Like I love really nice smells. So I'm always like, oh my God, you smell delicious. And Jordan's like, you sound creepy. Can you stop saying that?
I've gone up to people and been like, can I touch your shirt? Because I just love it. The texture looks so, you know, and I think they probably think I'm creepy, but it's all right. If they say no, I back off.
Yeah. I'm always like, where'd you get your earrings from? Or, you know, and Jordan's like, oh my God, here she goes.
Yeah, I've had entire conversations with people like out in the street because they were wearing something purple, and I had to go over and tell them how much I loved it and why I love purple, and that my name's Violet. And, you know, most of the time it's received well. And I think, you know, like there's certain people you just don't go up to, you know, when it's going to be okay.
I love watching those reels where the ladies, even the guys, there's some guys that do it, where they scream out the window like,
yes, oh, you got a great smile. Yeah, that shirt looks so good on you. Yes.
But I love the ones where the guy goes to the other guys, hey, can you leave some of the women for us?
I was like, those are the kind of trends that I can get on with.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I would love to do that. Yeah. I'm going to drive around one day and start yelling at people out the window. Hey, I love that shirt. That looks so good. See if they're like, there's a crazy woman driving around and they call the police.
The problem is that half the time they probably only hear half of the words. So you're like, what the hell did she just say about my shirt?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes, I agree, Carly. You changed the whole person's day. So a couple of years ago, for Christmas, Ella had a kindness fairy that came along with the elf, and every day she had a kindness mission to do. And one of the missions I'll never, ever forget in my entire life, I don't think I'll ever forget this. One of the missions was to buy a bunch of flowers and give it to a stranger, right? And Ella would have only been about 7 or 8 at the time. And so we go into the shop, and I said, pick a bunch of flowers and then you can choose somebody to give it to. And she's like, I can't just choose one person. That's impossible, right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to take me all freaking day, or kind of cost me a fortune. So she picked a bunch of flowers that had all these, there was a bunch of yellow flowers and had all these tiny little yellow flowers in it. So there would have been like 100 flowers in this tiny little bouquet, right? And so she sat there and she picked every one of these tiny little flowers off, and she walked around the shop for an hour handing out flowers.
Aww.
And she would say, I'm spreading kindness. I'm spreading kindness. And, you know, and there was this one girl, she would have been about 21, and she was walking along with the trolley. She had her head down, and Ella walked up to her and just shoved this flower in underneath her face. I'm spreading kindness, you know, and the girl sort of was like, okay, took the flower, and then we kept walking, And the young girl come up to me about 10 minutes later and whispered in my ear, "Thank you very much. I don't think I would have been here tomorrow if your daughter hadn't given me that flower." And it
Wow.
broke me. It
Oh, that
absolutely
gave me
broke me.
chills.
Me
It
too.
did, and even to this day, it makes me want to cry because the look
Yeah.
on this girl's face,
Yeah.
where she was obviously contemplating ending her life until Ella
Oh,
handed her this
wow.
tiny little flower. And it's that whole, you don't know what somebody else is going through,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and it's those tiny little things that seem so insignificant and cute and lovely, but really does fully change somebody else's day. And when we change one other person's day, then they forward that on and it becomes that ripple effect,
Mhm.
Yes.
you know. So yeah, it's good.
What a beautiful
Good thing.
offering.
We love doing our random act of kindness.
Yeah. And what a great thing to teach your daughter. I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, the very last flower that she had, she turned around and she saw this tradie guy, this contractor, and he would have only been mid-20s, covered head to toe in paint and plaster dust and stuff. And she walked up to him to give him this flower, and my head was just like, oh no, he's gonna break her heart. Like he's gonna be like, you know. And he turned around and Ella gave him the flower, and he must have just, I don't know, like he must have just picked up on that she was, you know, a little bit different to most children, whatever. And he grabbed the flower, gave her a big hug, put the flower in his ear, and skipped out of the shop. And I was like, oh, thank God, because that could have gone really wrong. Because Ella doesn't understand social cues, so it's like, you know, she would have walked up and given a flower to somebody holding a bloody knife the same way she would have given it to an old lady. You know, like she doesn't see the little things. So, but yeah, he didn't break her heart, which was really good. So
Nice. I love that.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
That
That's
bloody
right.
knife person
That's right.
deserves a flower too.
Exactly. And see, and that's the thing, hey, from my perspective, I was like, don't give it to the tradie in my head. And Ella was like, why shouldn't he get it? You know? And her special needs has really taught us to see things in a different way as well. Like that we don't, like there is a form of judgment. We're like, oh, I can't approach that person. Whereas Ella be like, I can approach anybody.
Nice.
You know? And sometimes it's okay. It's good. It's good.
I've been listening to the telepathy tapes that talks about nonverbal autistic children and the gifts that they have in communicating telepathically. And it is one of those things that I love about being human, because I'm like, it just expanded the realm of possibilities for me in this really beautiful way. And I love that that's possible.
Yes.
So if you haven't checked it out, check it out.
Well, that's how Ella communicated with Jordan for the first 5 years. Ella didn't talk.
Really? Wow.
And they communicated telepathically, but I forced her to talk because I wasn't included in the conversation. So, but yeah, it's amazing. It is really amazing, especially whether it's telepathy or not, when you lose a form of what we class as regular communication, how much more we can learn from people without that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
They have heightened other gifts that we don't always understand, and so
Right.
we put them in this different category. But
Right.
they're very much more advanced than us in a lot of ways.
I say that to my husband all the time. Yeah.
I always say that. I'm like, Ella and anybody on the spectrum is the more evolved species.
Yeah.
They don't dwell on the little things. They don't overthink the way we overthink. They don't people please the way we people please.
Right.
They don't put themselves to the side to make sure somebody else isn't uncomfortable. You know, that's purely like where we should be as a species. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they don't say things with malice. They don't, you know, it is what it is. Because often I'll say to her, but you can't say it like that. She goes, but am I wrong? And I'm like, no, you're not wrong. But you shouldn't really be saying it like that, because the other person could take it as being hurtful. And she's like, yeah, but I don't mean it to be hurtful. I'm not saying it to be mean. It's just the truth. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Why should I make her change the way and so, yeah, she's taught us a lot more than I think what we probably taught her over the years.
About authenticity. We could all learn.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's one of the things I marvel at when I'm with my grandkids now. I'm like, you know, they're so pure. And when I'm with them, I love it because I think to myself, how can I be more like that? How can I learn from them? What we've forgotten, right?
Yeah. It's about unlearning.
Yeah.
It's about our remembering. And it's about our why.
Yes.
Why do we want to be more like that? Because why? Because they're freer.
Yes.
Mm.
I'm popping up that card, Maisha's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I wrote down this quote, so I want to say it before we end. I don't know how much time we have, but it says, taking what we have and devoting it to the restoration of the whole is our salvation and the salvation of the world. And I know we might have a thing about the word salvation too, but that's what it says. And it says, our devotion then becomes our work, and our work then becomes our devotion. And that is how I look at everything I do. Like everything I do is a devotion. If I don't feel devoted to it, I'm not doing it.
That's beautiful.
And I love that
Yeah.
we get to choose.
Yeah.
To choose how it is that we spend our energy. We get to choose how it is we share our gifts. We get to come here on Insight Timer and connect with people from all over the world and share our gifts authentically, just showing up as we are. I was thinking, like earlier, I was feeling frazzled. I'm like, I need to just talk about, what happened in class. Talk about I felt like breaking down and crying, and like me getting like sharing that as in the opening of the space allows me to be fully present here and not
Yes.
feel like I have to pretend or mask or do any of that perfectionist stuff, right? So yeah, it's a beautiful life we get to live if
It is.
we see it that way. It's all about perception.
Yeah. And can I just say on a side note, a little bit of a margin note here. Every time, Maisha, you say God, salvation, devotion, I don't feel it uncomfortably in my body like I would if I was to read it on a text, because there's something about your calming energy that doesn't make it feel like a dirty word.
I love that. I love that.
So maybe you could read the audio book, like you could read the book and record it.
I'll record it for you, Charlie. I got you.
I'll say that's what we'll do. We'll have another live and we'll just have Maisha read the book.
So yeah, you can say the word God all you want, and I don't feel, because honestly, I could read the word God, and I like what you were saying earlier. You felt it in your body when you saw that cat. I feel it in my body. Everything clenches. Like I just go
Yes.
into, oh my God.
Yes.
But I haven't done that. I haven't felt that once whenever you've said something.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there you go.
good. I had messaged Miss Carol Lawrence. Is that her last name?
Yes, Lawrence. Yeah, yeah.
Carol Lawrence I asked her because we were talking about because we've been reading this book, and then when I went to Max Ryan's live about the Course in Miracles, I was like, Miss Carol, have you read the Course in Miracles? Because I would love to hear your perspectives, or on the Return of Love. And she said on Sunday she does the Q&A, ask and I'll answer. And she said she's going to address it on Sunday. So if y'all are interested in hearing
Oh,
Miss Carol's take
awesome.
on a Course in Miracles and a Return to Love, she's going to talk about it on Sunday.
Excellent.
Thank you, Carly. That's a really
You're
beautiful.
welcome. And it's I think it's a sign of your energy as well, like, because it's done with it's done with the softness and the love that it deserves, right? Like you're not trying to say this side or this side. It just is what it is. Like it's in that presence of what.
And that's a hard thing to do for me. It's a hard thing to do.
It is. It really is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I receive it. Somebody asked me to repeat it, so I'll say it one more time because I think I did butcher it the first time. It says, taking what we have and devoting it to the restoration of the whole is our salvation and the salvation of the world. Our devotion then becomes our work, and our work becomes our devotion. So it's taking what we have, y'all. We don't have to create ourselves anew. We use what we have. We already have it. We are already perfectly fulfilled. We are already perfectly prepared. We just take what we have and we use it for the goodness of all. That's it.
Yeah.
I love that. I
We
love
get to
that.
have fun while doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at your card for your upcoming why, because it just makes me think again about my why. I'm constantly trying to do all these different things, and you just put it beautifully. Just work with what you have.
With what you have, and really be clear about why it is that you're doing it. Like I do the thing where I ask myself why 4 or 5 times. Like if I'm gonna, so I wanted to go back to the gym. Why? I asked myself 4 or 5 times why well, I didn't want to go back to the gym. My doctor was like, you need to do some strength training. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to the gym, but why? Why is this? I need to know what the why is, or else I'm not gonna
Listen, I
go.
need to do some strength training too. Are you going to be doing lives on that one? I'll sit
Yeah.
there and
So the why is really
I'll sit there and lift weights.
getting down to the why and asking yourself why, like a kid, like why, but why, but why. So ask
Yes.
yourself 3 or 4 times, you'll get down to the root of why the why matters to you, and it'll be something that's deeply personal, something that can be felt in your body, something that connects to one of your values that really means something to you. And then that is the reason why you move forward with that thing, right? It's not just the gym that's important. It's not the strength training. I want to feel strong and healthy in my body. That's my why. Because I love being outside. And if I'm strong and healthy in my body, I'll be able to play outside for well into my 80s, well into my 90s. That's my
Yeah.
why, right? Because being out in nature makes me happy. It fills me up. It lights me up. That's my why. And so you have to get down to the root of the why.
And so often, like so I do that. I think they call it the 5 whys. There's actually like a whole thing on the 5 whys. And I do it often when I've got clients here. They'll come in and they'll sit down and they'll bleh about what's happened that day or the day before that's pissed them off. And I'm just my role is to just break down each why as to, and generally the first answer is not the answer at all. There's something a lot deeper. And people don't really get that. They're like, oh, but such and such annoyed me. And it's like, yeah, but why? When we really figure out, it's generally something like from childhood, like when you're talking about on a deeper healing level, there's something about more of like an abandonment issue that's got nothing to do with why your husband didn't make the coffee, or what they think is the issue is not the issue because they haven't got down into that real why. Yeah.
Is that Moonstone?
It's Moonstone. Hi, Moonstone. He's the one that everybody hears on my lives because he is loud and likes to make himself known. He's the voice in my house, Carly. They have a million names for him. Some people call him Moonbeam, Moonshine.
Aww.
We've got 8 fish, and Ella has named every single one of them. So,
Moondust.
Do we have any parting thoughts? I see we have like another 10 minutes to go.
Oh, we do? I thought we were over time.
I don't know. Oh, are we over? I don't even know. How long did I schedule this? I don't know.
I don't know. I need to get going in a minute anyway because Jordan's needs the room. He's got a client coming soon, so I need to make a move. I told him. I said, he goes, "How long are you on there for?" I said, "I don't know, an hour maybe." I
have no idea.
But it's been awesome. It has been awesome. It's been great.
Such a good conversation. Yeah. I love just anything that talks about returning to love and love in this expanded view and perspective. And this book really just talks about that we get to choose fear, love. Those are the only choices, and fear and love is the only thing that's real. So choose love and see what that means for you. Like really investigate and contemplate what that means for you. What does it mean to live from a place of love? Like, what does that mean? How does that feel? What kind of gifts do you want to share with the world? How you want to do it? These are the things that are driving me right now. Everything that I do is to amplify the feeling, the knowing, and the radiance of love. So, and it's not just this. I love too, if you ever read the book, it'll talk about, it's not about this bypassing like the experiences that we have as human beings, but it is about meeting it with a presence, that you're able to make space for love in every situation, that you create space for it, that there's room for it. So
yeah, that's something I've had to learn because that was something I used to be really good at, is just pushing it away and ignoring it and not dealing with it. And I've learned to just kind of stop and say, all right, what am I feeling? What's going on? I don't have to sit there and dwell and become a victim, but I just want to acknowledge it, because in the past I wouldn't. And, as you know, because you do a lot of somatic stuff, that all gets trapped in your body. And it was definitely showing up for me in many ways.
Yeah. something that I wrote in the meditation that I did on Sunday night was, we're not here to shame the past or romanticize the healing, which is that whole bypassing.
Mm-hmm.
We are claiming responsibility without blame.
Mm.
Because I'm a big believer of what you're not changing, you're choosing.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you live in a constant state of fear, if you're not changing that, you're actually choosing to stay there as well. So it's, and one of the last things I wrote was, welcome yourself back home fully into your heart. So I'm excited. I'm hoping Insight Time it don't take too long to approve it, because then that'll be up there so that people can
Yeah.
a little plug there for the next cacao ceremony that'll go live, track that will come up in the next hopefully couple of days. So yeah, it's just all about taking that, stopping outsourcing your love to everybody else.
Yes.
Because like what Maisha was saying before in the book, where she talks about how you treat one person is how you treat everybody, that's also, we can extend that to how you treat yourself.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And my ceremony was all about taking back your power and not outsourcing it and begging and waiting and performing for other people's love.
Yeah.
That it can come from here, that you are the one you're waiting for.
Yes, yes. I am the love of my life. I love that. That's a video that I saw by I can't remember her name now. Viola Davidson. Says to her daughter, you have to be the love of your own life. And I love that so much. I think that when I saw that and I read that, that changed everything for me. So do you ladies want to share what you've got coming up while we're on that topic? I just put up your card, Carly, for your cacao and creative writing.
Yes, so that's regular every Sunday, well, my Sunday night, which for a lot of you guys,
4:30 in the morning on Monday.
And look, to be fair, I get a lot of people that are like, it's 3:30 in the morning and I'm here, and I'm like, Violet,
1:30 a.m. for me. 1:30 a.m.
I don't take offense, because if it was the other way around, I'm not turning up to Violet's 3:30 sessions. That's not happening. Certainly not offended. But that's where I am every Sunday night at Cacao, and then either a Tuesday or a Wednesday I turn up to do my creative session, which at the moment is all about crone crafts. It's slowing down and doing small, slow, mindful, meaningful, lost hobbies that don't necessarily have to be mastered. They just give us time to be offline.
So, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And Maisha.
So I have Why Your Why Really Matters coming up on Tuesday. Oops, darn it. I just clicked off of it, so I don't know what time it is. But
it is 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so 5:30 p.m. PST. Why Your Why Really Matters, really embodying our intentions from a meaningful place. And I just want to put a plug that you can check the link in my bio for something exciting I'm doing this weekend. It's a free 3-day situation. I'll put it in the chat so I don't have to say it. Check the link in my bio. Please join me if you would like. And next month in February, I'm kicking off my new book, which is Transforming the Shame Triangle. It's moving from fear to love using parts work. So you all know I love using parts work and infusing parts work into my sessions. And so we're going to be journeying with that book. The first session is on February, I believe, 3rd.
Awesome.
February 3rd, 4th, I'm not sure, but check the link. It's already up on my profile.
Okay.
We'll be listening to the audio, to parts of the audio book, and we'll be doing practices around it. I'll develop practices around it. And we'll be working with our inner critic part. Everybody has an inner critic part. That's the easiest part to identify. We'll be working with our inner critic part, our escaper parts, which are usually a group of parts that come in and swoop in to make us not feel the uncomfortable feelings that we feel from the inner critic. And then the shame part, and we'll be looking at how those 3 parts work together to keep us in cycles of shame. So
wow, that sounds good.